This boy was admitted to the lunatic asylum in 1913, and today I will tell you his story. Herbert Tha was born in 1902 in Bath, Somerset. He was the illegitimate child of Georgina Annie Tha, and at the time of his birth the family lived in Cumberland Row. His mother married in 1907, but in 1911 we find him living at the Blind Institution at St David's Hill, Exeter. He is noted as being totally blind since birth. He was admitted to the Bath and Somerset Lunatic Asylum on the 22nd of February 1913 from the Frome Road Workhouse in Bath. He was suffering from epilepsy, having frequent seizures. He said he was blind in one eye and partially blind in the other. He stayed at the asylum for 2 years, still having fits but being looked after, fed, washed and nourished, though he is described as impaired in mind and enfeebled. On the 23rd of March 1915, he was discharged from the asylum, and the record said, not improved, and he returned to the workhouse in Bath. On the 30th of March 1916, he was returned to the asylum, with the note stating he had frequent epileptic fits, and after these he is very excitable and noisy. He keeps annoying other inmates, swearing and spitting. He has to be constantly watched for fear of being injured by other inmates. Other notes say he is childish, noisy and has frequent and severe seizures. He began to decline his food in June 1918 and was put on a non-meat diet. In October 1918, it is noted that he had numerous seizures, and in November 1918, he was slipping in and out of consciousness. Sadly, he passed away on November 3rd, 1918, at 3:40 a.m. in the presence of night attendant James West. He was aged just 15 years old. He was buried in an unmarked grave at the Mendip Hospital Cemetery. So rest in peace, Herbert. You will be remembered. This woman was admitted to the lunatic asylum in 1905, and today I will tell you her story. Lillian Gullick was born in 1876 in Frome, Somerset, to Theophilus and Carolina Gullick. By 1891, the family lived in Heathfield, Bath, and she was one of 3 daughters born to the marriage. On July 6, 1905, she appeared in the Bath Chronicle. It said, Lily Gullick, aged 28, late of Radstock in Somerset, was charged with having obtained by false pretences food and lodging to the amount of 15 shillings with the intent to defraud. Henry Weston told the court that he did not as a rule take lodgers, but that Miss Gullick, alias Miss Lawrence, appeared to be a lady of means, as she explained that she had been living in the Argyle Hotel in London, and that London was where her parents lived, and kept 2 servants. Her father told the court that he and his wife had never lived in London, and that he had no servants. The court told Miss Gullick that they were prepared to be lenient with her, and anxious to give her a chance, although her conduct had been improper and wicked. Upon her father paying Mr. Weston the 15 shillings owed, Miss Gullick was bound to come up for judgment if called upon within the next 12 months. Things obviously didn't go well for Lily, as she was admitted to the lunatic asylum on the 16th of August 1905, aged 28. The report said she was a housekeeper, a member of the Plymouth Brethren. She was 7 stone and 5'1". Reason for admittance, hereditary religious mania. On admission, her hair was dark, eyes greyish blue, heart and lungs free from active disease. No apparent injuries to skin. Mentally, say Satan worries her, becomes very emotional due to this, and becomes all a tremble. Says she can't stop still, and says that life is all such a mystery. Is evasive in all her replies to questions. August 23rd, 1905. Very incoherent and confused in conversation. Thinks the devil is working some mystery on her. Emotional at times. Fair health and condition. September 6th, 1905. Bright and cheery, though still morbid in thought on religious matters. Usefully employed in needlework. September 13th, 1905. Has self-injured tone when speaking about Satan. Still under morbid suspicion in religious matters. August 5th, 1905. For some days has been sleeping. She says she cannot sleep in the dark. Was altogether upset. January 5th, 1906. Able to go to the workroom today. Says a gloom comes over her at times, which she cannot account for. In fair health. Hears voices and talks to them in reply. Is now making a dress in the needlework room, her first work for a long time. April 27th, 1907. Became very excited this morning. Very abusive. Is much worse at present. Requires a few days rest in bed at these times. June 1st, 1907. Noisy, abusive, swears and uses obscene expressions. Has become destructive as she says the devil annoys her. In bed for excitement. Fair health. July 14th, 1909. She is incoherent, abusive and obscene. She is still persecuted by the devil. She constantly sees her parents. Unaware of what she is saying, is incapable of employment. Noisy and sleepless at night. July 23rd, 1909. Has diarrhea which is uncontrollable. On medicines for that and a suitable diet given. August 1st, 1909. Feeble, filthy in habits, swears constantly and is incoherent. Coughs incessantly. November 27th, 1909. Very feeble and now becoming emaciated. Diarrhea continues. August 10th, 1910. Gradually becomes feebler and died this morning at 5 a.m. in the presence of Nurse Shingleton. Cause of death, tuberculosis of the lungs, age 33. Lily was buried in the Mendip Hospital Cemetery on August 16th, 1910. So rest in peace, Lily. You will be remembered. Who Griffin Lily was sent to the asylum in 1915. But to know his story, we need to go back to the beginning. He was born in Bath, Somerset in 1880 to John and Clara Lily. His father was a tailor and they lived in Westmoreland Cottages. The 1901 census lists Who as having nervous debility. In 1911, when Who was 30, it is shown that he was employed in light duties at home and listed as not strong. Who was admitted to the asylum in 1915 at the age of 34, having been found rambling and quite unable to take care of himself in Bath. On admittance, he said he was part of the Spanish Armada and would never surrender. Who had previously been in the asylum and discharged as recovered in 1898 and 1901. His notes state that he was very suspicious of the stethoscope, but on admittance the doctor notices that sounds suggestive of tuberculosis are present, and that he is in poor health and very thin. In March 1916, Who is described as excitable, talkative, incoherent, untidy and idle. In April 1917, it is noted that he is losing weight, and his chest condition is no better. In June 1917, he is confined to bed in the sick room. His family have been notified. On July 17, 1917, Who rapidly became worse and sank and died at 11:20 p.m. in the presence of head attendant James West. Cause of death, tuberculosis of the lungs. Who was buried in the Mendip Hospital Cemetery in an unmarked grave. So rest in peace, Who. You will be remembered. This boy was admitted to the lunatic asylum in 1918, aged just 12, suffering from intellectual insanity and epilepsy. The report said he had been in an epileptic home in Lingfield, Surrey for 3 years, and left 6 months ago. His name was Arthur Albert Arnold, and the report said his father William Thomas Arnold, a painter, says that he is quite lost in his mind, is violent at times and strikes anyone near him. He bites and kicks, and eats the wallpaper and has tried to jump out of the window. On admittance, he is a well-nourished but undersized child, enfeebled in mind, childish and unable to understand the simplest questions. His father stated that he had a fit this morning. He has threadworms which are being treated. January 8th, 1918, is in need of constant supervision and attention. He is in moderate health. He is cured of threadworms. February 17th, 1918, he is constantly having fits, unable to converse or answer questions. His health is rapidly deteriorating. March 20th, 1918, is much enfeebled in general health and losing weight rapidly. His fits are becoming more severe. April 23rd, 1918, put to bed as is much feebler. Needs nursing. He is rapidly getting weaker and more helpless. His relatives have been notified. April 27th, 1918, he gradually sank and died at 1:30 p.m. in the presence of charge attendant Robert McCoy. Cause of death, epilepsy. Arthur was just 12 years old when he died. He was buried in the Mendip Hospital Cemetery on the 3rd of May 1918. So rest in peace, Arthur. You will be remembered.